Hi, I think we're back to try this again. So we are now in chapter 2 of the Yoga Vastisha. We had quite the month of going through dispassion. Um, as you can hear, I've had a bit of a cold. The kids have had one. Um, but we're moving into chapter 2, and chapter 2 is all about self-effort. And so I feel like as part of the theme, I should employ my own self-effort towards self-realization and show up for this again. We're a few days behind. I think now we started on section 5 through 8, but I'll be starting at section 1 with these recordings. So we'll go ahead and start with our opening prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we are starting on chapter 2 of volume 1. And we had ended with basically there's a spiritual questions like Rama had no choice but to overcome. He basically couldn't continue down the path he was before. It's one of the last quotes from the last chapter says, "He alone is called a man who has the light of spiritual aspiration burning in his heart. Others are not fit to be called a man. They are nothing but animals revolving in the wheel of birth and death, driven by attachment, infatuation, and ignorance." And so this is essentially the end of cultivating vairagya or dispassion. Section 1 of chapter 2. Sri Shuka goes to King Janaka. After listening to the words of dispassion expressed by Sri Ramachandra, great sage Vishwamitra, delighted to find such an excellent aspirant, responded, saying, "O Ramachandra, you are the best among the wise. There is nothing more to be known by you. Your intellect has gained enough subtlety to acquire spiritual wisdom. However, you hold a tinge of diffidence that clouds the mirror of your mind. Just as Sri Shukadeva, the son of sage Vyasa, attained spiritual knowledge, so will you attain self-realization." Sri Ramachandra asked, "How did the son of great Vyasa attain peace through the instructions of his guru? Why was he unable to discover the truth of his existence by his innate wisdom?" So why do we need a spiritual preceptor? And I just realized I'm not sharing the screen I want to, so let's do that. Okay. Sri Vishwamitra said, "I will tell you the story of Sri Shukadeva. This sage Vyasa, who now appears like a mountain of black unguent seated by the side of the royal throne of your father, King Dasharatha, had a son known as Shukadeva. Even at an early age, Shukadeva developed dispassion towards the world, just like yourself, O Ramachandra. By the force of constant reflection on the nature of the world, this mind became filled with viveka, or discriminative knowledge, but still he was unable to find rest in the self with a capital S. He was diffident with reference to his own wisdom. Therefore, he did not experience peace within himself. One day he approached his father, sage Vyasa, and asked with great humility and devotion, "O adorable one, how does this world arise? How vast are the dimensions of this universe? How long will it continue to exist? Does this world process belong to the body or to the mind or to the senses or to the pranas? Or does this world belong to the immutable self?" Sri Vyasa explained the nature of the self and the universe in every detail. But Sri Shukadeva felt that he had already known all that teaching himself, and therefore that there was nothing more to receive from his father. His inward diffidence was not expelled. Seeing this, sage Vyasa instructed Shuka to go to King Janaka to receive spiritual wisdom. Royal sage Janaka was well known for his lofty attainment of spiritual enlightenment. At this, Sri Shuka went to the palace of King Janaka and informed the latter of his arrival through a gatekeeper. King Janaka knew that Sri Shukadeva had rejected the teachings of his father due to lack of confidence in his own wisdom. Therefore, any direct teaching given to him would not be effective. Thus reflecting, King Janaka ignored his message. Sri Shukadeva had to wait 7 days at the gate of the palace before receiving an audience with the king. After 7 days of patient waiting, Sri Shukadeva was brought into the royal palace. There he was entertained by various enjoyments of the world. But just as a soft breeze is unable to root out mighty trees that are deeply rooted, so the luxuries of the royal palace were unable to agitate the mind of Sri Shukadeva. This means that he had real dispassion. He wasn't getting entangled in the luxuries of the world. Having proven that he was worthy of receiving spiritual wisdom, the devoted and respectful Sri Shukadeva was brought before the king. King Janaka said, "You are blessed, O Shukadeva. You have attained the goal of all the forms of self-effort. All enjoyments of the world are like straw before the bliss of the self. You have fulfilled all your desires by the force of self-realization. What more do you expect?" Sri Shukadeva said, "O adorable Guru, how does this world arise, and how can it be eradicated from one's consciousness?" Thus questioned, King Janaka gave the same instructions which Sri Shukadeva had received from his father, sage Vyasa. Sri Shuka expressed himself, "O Guru, I had discovered the same truth by force of my reflections. The same was taught by my father, sage Vyasa, and you have instructed me in the same reality. All scriptures are in accord with the same truth. In brief, this world arises from the mind, and it is destroyed by the cessation of the mind. Therefore, it is essenceless and illusory. I need to receive confirmation of this truth through your enlightening instructions." And we have actually switched to here. King Janaka said, "Surely there is no other truth than what you have discovered by your reflective inquiry. This world is essentially the divine self, which is all-pervading, non-dual, pure consciousness. The supreme self has fallen into the bondage of the world process through its own samkalpas, or mental thoughts." Samkalpas also used, we talk about it as intention. When it becomes freed from the sankalpas, perhaps this is different. I should look this up. I'm thinking sankalpa. It attains the state of liberation and freedom. You are the best among the aspirants. You have known the highest truth of existence. You have developed dispassion towards all objects of the world. Though still very young, you have become detached from the enjoyments of the world. Your father, Sri Vyasa, is the ocean of wisdom, but your wisdom excels even your father's. I deem myself highly privileged to be your guru. Thus instructed by King Janaka, Sri Shukadeva became free from inner diffidence. He became fully enlightened. All grief, restlessness, and agitation vanished from his mind. Surrounded by gods, Sri Shuka entered into samadhi, or super consciousness, on the heights of the Meru Mountains. After enjoying samadhi for 10,000 years, he passed on into Videha Mukti, or disembodied liberation. With the destruction of worldly attachment and its cause, ignorance, Sri Shukadeva merged himself in the absolute reality, or Brahman, even as a drop of water merges itself in the vast ocean. So tomorrow we will continue. with sage Vishwamitra requests sage Vasisha to instruct Sri Ramachandra. And we will close with closing prayers. Om Purnamidam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bolo Sakura Shivananda Maharaja Ki. Om Bolo Shri Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaja Ki. Jai to Swami Jyotirmayananda for bringing this translation to us, and Jai Ma, and Jai to all of you.